All right, a little bit of an update on the case situation, the divorce stuff. Essentially, where I'm at, I am awaiting these three filings to be accepted by the clerk. I filed them yesterday morning, or actually, I filed on Sunday night over the weekend, and they were served to the opposing party and everybody else this morning. But essentially, what happened last week, I had a hearing that was scheduled on Zoom, and this was for the joint motion to recuse. And the hearing was at 2:30. We started the hearing, and it immediately became apparent that the opposing party was going to be permitted to just baselessly object to everything I was saying. And then all of a sudden, internet issues started to occur. And due to this fact, the judge recommended that we reschedule, which was a nice gesture. And we rescheduled, set for November 7th. Well, on November 7th, I was, in extraordinary pain from teeth pain, which rendered me unable to speak. And given the hearing was that day, obviously, I needed to communicate with this situation with the court. So that's exactly what I did. I filed an email with the clerk letting her know that I could not access the electronic filing manager at that time. So I was unable to file a continuance, which is, what I should have done legally. But despite that, the opposing party not only agreed to the continuance in writing, but they also emailed the court coordinator asking for a rescheduling date. Now, despite all of this, and despite clearly communicating everything, the court coordinator was out with COVID. Despite all of this, I get an erroneous denial yesterday in my inbox. However, this has yet to be served via the electronic filing manager as required by the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure. So I think it's an interesting thing because we have pending motions here. We have an order that hasn't been entered into the docket yet for the electronic filing manager. So I'm wondering what the next move is on their end, because if they file the official order and serve it to me on the EFM, then what I can do is file an additional renewed joint motion to recuse, pointing out the fact that the continuance wasn't able to be filed given I was unable to access the EFM, which I have requested subpoena for the parent entity that holds the data, which I will need to prove that claim. However, I did take screenshots, but you just can't play it safe enough with this stuff. So it's clear as day that the court is more than willing to take the first opportunity to deny something rather than look into the situation, determine the facts, and adjudicate the matter fairly. It's a very big problem. And I have seen not only two trial court judges, but three justices on the Second Court of Appeals, then the entire Second Court of Appeals panel en banc, all of the Supreme Court justices, the regional presiding judge, and now a visiting retired judge. And between all of their collective experience, not one of them can seem to answer the simple question as to how can a parent, or anybody for that matter, be removed from their home, erased from their kids' lives without as much of a single explanation in the last 10 months. And I believe that any reasonable human being that knew all the facts of my case would absolutely question if the judges were actually being impartial, which is the test for recusal. So I'm not understanding what the end goal is here on the court's behalf, but it doesn't make much sense from a legal standpoint. And, when you commit bias during the recusal procedure itself, what what impression are you leaving? It's really terrifying how our courts are operating. And anybody caught in this situation, I mean, you got to stand up for yourself. Just ask questions. They can't seem to answer them. So that's an update for you regarding this crap.